Evenings with Sonny and Shay
on BBC WM 95.6.
Your voice in the West Midlands.
Now, it is 3:09. Good afternoon if you're just tuning in. Sonny and Shay here with you till 4 o'clock today. We have got a packed show today. Really excited. Joined by some fantastic guests. Now, Sonny and I, we went to see a Noël Coward play at the Alexandra Theatre only 2 weeks ago. Well, we've got another one of his productions. And I have to say, Noël Coward is so loved, isn't he, across the West Midlands, that every single time a production comes, everyone loves to go out and see it. Well, his production opened last night at the Crescent Theatre. It's called Hay Fever. And it didn't know it's opening tonight. It is opening.
No, the 30th.
The 30th, my apologies. It opens on the 30th of March, and we're joined by Anne Harris and Alan Marshall. They're playing the lead characters in the Hay Fever, and they're here to tell us more. So, Annie, Alan, and Daniel, thank you for joining us. It's lovely to have you all here.
Good afternoon.
I guess we should start off with yourselves then, Annie and Alan. Tell us about Hay Fever. I've just mentioned a lot of us know Noël Coward. We love his, comedies, especially from the 1920s. But for anyone who's unfamiliar with Hay Fever, tell us a bit about Hay Fever.
1925 was the first performance.
Yeah. Right.
His first big success. He based it on possibly the sort of people he was mixing with, and it caused some offence. It is. They recognised themselves, sadly. And didn't ever speak to him again.
Oh dear.
It is one of those nightmare weekends when this terrible family.
Yeah. Alan and I are playing characters called Judith and David Bliss.
Right.
And they have 2 children, and they live sort of in the country. Well, just a little bit out of London anyway. And they're just a nightmare family.
Right.
And they each invite a guest for the weekend without telling anybody else. And then get very uppity about the other people, and just chaos ensues, really.
Make their life hell, really.
It just sounds like an average weekend for most of us, doesn't it?
Sounds like Christmas to me. Like, I invited someone for Christmas. And so is this why he does so well? Because he just writes so well about this uncomfortable situations and real people? Because it's obviously based on some of the people that he knew. But is that why we still are performing his plays and the messages are universal?
Well, this particular play of his, I think, is regarded as a bit of a classic in the theatre now. It's likened to things like The Importance of Being Earnest.
Yes.
It's very light, very funny, not in a broadly funny way. You have to be, you have to sort of catch the humour. It's one of those things where you laugh about 10 seconds after it's happened.
Because it sort of filters through.
Because it just filters through the things. I'm starting boxing next week. Oh, you must invite me to your first night. And the penny doesn't drop.
You pick it up later on.
That's just the perfect kind of comedy for me, Daniel. I constantly am that person if we go out for dinner, and everyone's having a laugh and a joke, and it will take me 10 seconds later on to figure out what they went.
So this might take you another 10 on top of everyone else laughing.
Yes, most probably. But are you like that, Daniel?
I think I'm exactly the same.
Good.
Absolutely.
Good.
So we share that together.
That's brilliant. And so the play itself is it have an age restriction, do you think, or is it just universal for everyone? Bring your kids and.
It doesn't have an age restriction as such. I think for small children it wouldn't be it is meant to be a comedy, but I think it's more of an adult comedy.
Yeah, I agree.
So whilst they'd be very welcome, I think they might be a bit bored.
So I think it's a date night kind of movie. Theatre production.
It is for adults really, and it's adult humour, and it's because it's a comedy of manners.
Yes.
As I say, that may not interest very youngsters, but
there is no real storyline.
Yes.
It's just what happens.
Yes.
The end.
So this would be the first sort of like Big Brother house. That's basically what it is on theatre.
Yes. But with very nicely spoken people.
Oh yes, darling. And they all talk like this, don't they?
Absolutely.
Do you know what? That's the one thing I love about Noël Coward, because look, I by no means, shape or form grew up with family like that, but I was surrounded by teachers like that because of the school that I went to, and I always used to find it really hilarious. And in the back of my mind, I used to think, God, I wonder what it's like at their house on the weekends. And what I love about Noël Coward is he gives you a bit of an insight into that, rather middle class English, darling, and they speak like this,
Of
and
that time,
very
yeah.
proper, and it's of that time, absolutely,
Very much of that time. Yeah, absolutely.
But the one thing I feel with theatre that you do not get with film, even if you're watching something from the 1920s or 30s, is the actors each night. Of course, they've got the lines, they know the production, but each night you will get something a little bit different.
You do, yes,
don't
that's
you?
right, yes.
You get a different audience
Exactly.
for a start,
Well,
and
that's
so you
right,
respond
yes.
differently,
And
don't you?
Yes. Alan said it's not only the actors that are different, that are going to give a different performance, but you're reacting to a different audience, and that makes a difference. I mean, sometimes they can be quite quiet, but having a lovely time.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're really raucous, whatever. So it's.
Which one do you prefer? Do you like the raucous one?
I like silence.
Oh, really?
I think it
Really?
is
Wow.
absolute silence. Personally, because you've got them in the palm of your hand.
Right, okay.
Right.
They're on waiting. It's so easy to go, woo, woo, that was fantastic, great, ha, ha. But total silence. It's a different silence to people being bored.
Right.
Because they shuffle then.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
So no shuffling.
There are magic moments when you're on stage when you get that silence and you think, I've got them.
And yourself?
Mine.
Yes, it is right. And another time is with, particularly with comedy, and you can feel that you've got people absolutely in the
And they're waiting for that rise, and then boom, and then you come back.
And it's lovely because they're with you, and it's a lovely warm feeling. It really is. I mean, it's ego boosting.
It is. And that's what all actors love, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And especially when you're on stage, because I think you thrive on that. It gives you kind of a little bit more of that interaction. Now, it's on 30th March until the 7th of April at the Crescent Theatre. The website is crescent-theatre.co.uk. We're going to continue to...
Afternoons with Sonny and Shay.
On BBC WM 95.6.
Your voice in the West Midlands.